Today we're going to be talking about things that you might have heard, but you didn't completely understand and maybe need a little more clarity on. So I hope to clear that up today when we're talking about 10 things to know when you're buying a home in Florida in 2023. We're getting after that next. All right, so hold on to your hats. You think that you've heard, you think that you know about the drivers, right? It's an exaggeration. Drivers aren't that bad in Florida. Well, the American Survey Service says otherwise. They named Florida the worst state for drivers. We are the worst drivers in the United States, apparently. Now, I'm not going to claim myself as one of them. I think I'm a pretty good driver. But overall, Floridians are horrible. And lately, I've been witnessing things like running red lights, cutting across 3 lanes of traffic. Hell, today, we had a guy coming out of basically what is a one-way situation and cut across 3 lanes of traffic to make an illegal U-turn to go the other direction and expecting the traffic to stop for him. Yes, that happened. And obviously with today's attitudes out there and unsure of people's reactions and what they're going to do, you almost want to let it go. Don't start getting in people's faces. Don't start fighting the situation about who's right, because with where people's mindsets are right now and the stuff going on, I don't want to be subjected to what could happen. So, hey, take the high road. Let whoever do what they're doing, as long as they're not hurting one of you or your others, just let it slide. But there's a lot of crazy stuff that can go on, and driving is one of them. If you're looking for a channel to tell you a little bit more about what it's like to live, play, eat, sleep, and buy real estate on the Gulf Coast, this is the channel for you. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the little bell to make sure you're notified every time. And if you want to get your search started early, go to ournextfloridahome.com or use our mobile app, Our Next Florida Home, and start there. If you have other questions that haven't been answered in videos, and maybe this video is not going to answer it either, do what everyone else is doing and call, text, or email, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast. Real quick, I wanted to address today, we are at JC Park. This is in Cape Coral on the east side. It is lined with pine trees all up and down the way here. And you see people out fishing. There's all kinds of people out picnicking all along here. This is becoming a little more popular too, because the Sanibel Causeway was shut down after Hurricane Ian, and the beautiful waterways and places to hang out are hard to find. So this is one of the good ones. You can see all that water behind us. It is a beautiful location to hang out. And the temperature today, we're in the high 80s, but there's a cool breeze. So this is what people live for. This is why they come to Florida in the wintertime. And we're pretty much almost feeling like summertime outside of the humidity. It is a little bit more humid, but not what the summer is. But this is what every day could be like. This is the sunshine you're gonna see, and this is the atmosphere that we're in. This is why we refer to it as being in paradise. So, number 2 on the list. Number 1 was the driving, right? Number 2 is the affordability of housing in the area. We need to talk about this. Affordable housing, is it around? No, it really isn't. Are they trying to fix it? Yeah, they're trying to fix it. How are they trying to fix it? By putting up more unaffordable housing. These apartment buildings are popping up everywhere. In fact, we have a new complex. It's going to be called Hudson Creek up in the northwest. 9,500 units. With those 9,500 units, there's going to be commercial spaces. There's going to be retail spaces. There's going to be a lot of stuff. Well, guess what's wrong with a lot of stuff? There's a lot of traffic that comes with it, right? Have you driven on our roads here in Cape Coral recently? I don't know if we can handle any more traffic, and they want to add more homes. Now, that's one project. You got the 7 Islands project that we talked about in one of our earlier videos. There's another complex of apartments going up next to the Publix on Pine Island and Burnt Store Roads, right at that intersection. There's another projected town center that's going up along Pine Island, just west of Bubba's. This is all in a stretch of road. It's maybe 1 mile to 2 miles. Yeah, all right, so they are putting that project in right next to the German American Club. Then as you continue further east and you go north just a hair on Chiquita, there's another project that they're putting in there for a few hundred more units on top of the one that was just added, 2 more intersections down close to Fox 4. They're just coming in everywhere. So as far as affordable housing, I can't tell you how affordable it is, because last time I checked, they were still wanting $1,800 for a 1 bedroom, 1 bath. That doesn't sound affordable to me. So what I do know, traffic is going to get worse. So if you thought our infrastructure already couldn't handle the drivers and the bad driving, there's more of it coming. So just hang on, we'll get there. The other thing about that Hudson Creek up in the northwest is that water and sewer may not be able to be provided out there for a decade. It's going to take a long time for a project that big. So many of the things that we're talking about as far as expansion may not come immediately, but things are definitely getting busier. They're getting busier in certain segments, and it's going to make traveling in the area much harder. In fact, if you try to take shortcuts, I found out the other day, try to take this shortcut even up in Punta Gorda, and the shortcut almost cost me more time than just sticking it out in the traffic. So it literally is going to come down to what I tell you every time. You just got to be patient and wait your way through it. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself crazy. It's kind of happening to me from time to time. Since I brought up the water and sewer being an issue up in the northwest as far as expansion, you already know the water sewer expansion is going to begin again. We talked about that. We also talked about the hefty price tag of $33,000. So aside from the $33,000 for your assessment, there's an additional charge to actually tie it in from the street to the house. Previously, it was only maybe $2,500. Now it's going to be in excess of $5,000 just because of how ridiculous pricing has gotten. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer to 10. That's just what's happening here with trades. Our tradesmen are not the most favorable right now. If they show up, you're lucky. If they complete the job, you're even luckier. And if they pay off all their subs, you're blessed. So it's going to be a little bit of a trial and error thing in some cases, but we're going to talk more about that as we go forward in the video. Number 3, you might hear some experts talking about if you wait for lower prices, lower interest rates, better terms, then you may never own a home. In fact, Dave Ramsey already said that if you are even close to 5%, even low 6s, that you might just want to buy, because we don't know if we're ever going to get any lower. I know everybody's expecting us to get back to 3, 4%. That may not happen. I can tell you already, house pricing is not going down. We're getting more inventory. It's not great inventory. The square footages aren't that big. And the really nice stuff is not sticking around. We're going to be talking about it in just a minute. So stick around if you want to know more about what the housing market's really doing in Southwest Florida. Now, with this influx that we're seeing people moving here, it's not stopping. In fact, Cape Coral was named the 7th most popular destination for relocation in the entire country. Number 7. So if you think that things are going to get easier or better to buy a house because the competition's going to go away, because the market's not favorable, because the interest rates aren't there, well, you know what? I met with Brian and Connie today, and we put an offer in on something. He said, we're not putting an offer in. We just want to see it. We have an offer in, and guess what? They don't need financing. They're paying cash. That's what's happening too. Financing isn't always the answer. And if you're holding out, waiting for the best terms to get that house you really want, you may end up losing it to somebody else. And I had one other client, they had reached out to me asking about a new construction home and wanted to know what the situation was on it. Is it available? Can we possibly get a hold of it? By the time I called the agent, now remind you, it was released the same day. By the time I called the agent, it was already being signed up with somebody else. So homes are going quickly. Good homes are going very quickly. And if you are somebody that needs a home, sure, you can rent. I would encourage you to get a pre-qualification with a lender to compare it against what you're renting for, because you may find that it's more affordable for you to purchase as opposed to rent. Now, number 4, closing time. Closing times can vary greatly. I was talking to Nick the other day. We're putting his home on the market, and he wants to move a couple cities away, and one of his concerns was, well, how am I going to get the money from this house to the next house and make all that happen? Well, there's a couple things we can do with closing timing, especially if you're the seller, you have a little more control. But we can do something called a simultaneous close, which once we have one home under contract, we get the next one under contract, we close them within a day or two of each other, and the money just goes from one to the next. Pretty straightforward. If that isn't going to work for you, you can sell your property first, have it on a lease back, which would allow you then to keep living in your home for another month, 2 months, whatever the buyer would allow you to do, and then take that time to purchase your home and move into it. So there are workarounds. Closing time is very flexible. Lots of different ways we can do this. And if it's something that you absolutely need is time, hey, we can work it out. It's just a matter of what works best for you. Number 5 is the inspection period. Everybody calls it an inspection period, right? Well, it's really a due diligence period. This is the time that you're going to take to not only inspect the property, but you're going to check out your insurances, your taxes, your HOA fees. You're going to find out if there's any repairs that are necessary. Are you going to be able to get vendors to do the repairs? Do the repairs have to be done in order to get your insurances? Lots of boxes to check, so we need to be very, very diligent. You normally have about 7 days to get this done. And if you don't do it in those 7 days, those terms get completely locked in and there's no more negotiation. So whatever deposit you made and gave to the title company, it's now in jeopardy of you losing it. So make sure you use those 7 days of due diligence period effectively. All right, number 6 is going to be increasingly important since we've been talking about inspections and due diligence. One of your due diligence items is you need to find out if a home that has been recently renovated was renovated properly by a professional that's licensed and insured, because there's a lot of people down here right now. I had talked to one the other day. He wants to sell his house and he said he did the work himself. Is he licensed? Is he certified? Does he have any kind of insurance for what he did? Did he pull permits if he needed to? I have no idea. And that's what you're going to run into. So ask questions, ask for invoices if you need to. Don't just take for granted that somebody did the work properly, because things like mold remediation, if you don't give it adequate time and use the proper chemicals and things like that, you could be completely messed over in the future. Very important, any renovations, make sure professionals did it. Number 7 is about pricing. Pricing is not decreasing, it's just slowing. And what I mean by that is from February of last year to this year, it's a single-digit increase of 3.5% instead of double digits. So what that means to you is if you're waiting for a deal, if you're waiting for a steal, if you're waiting for the market to drop out, Southwest Florida is not dropping out. Just saying. Now you might want to get more favorable terms, but what you're probably going to have to do is purchase under the best terms you can right now and then refinance when it gets better. Hell, Dave Ramsey himself said it. Get the rate now, get the best rate you can get, buy down with points if you have to, get the seller to contribute to buying down points, get the builder to contribute to buying down points. And then, when the rates do drop, if they drop, then you'll refinance. But secure your home as soon as you can, otherwise you could be subjected to some more increases. And on that note, does it hurt? If you're renting right now, does it hurt to talk to a lender and find out what your price would be, what your mortgage would be? You might find by just doing a simple analysis with him that you'll have a better rate with the mortgage than rent. So jump out there, find out, have them do it. It's free of charge. They pull your credit one time, you'll know exactly where you stand. Now, number 8, the market right now, the real estate market is, oh, hold on a second. Do you see that in the background? Oh yeah, that's our little tiki boat. Hold on, I'm gonna get over here and show you this. It's just kind of cool, actually. You see it? That's our little tiki boat that runs around here with people partying. Yeah, that happens here often. Anyway, number 8, the real estate market here in Cape Coral is challenging, so much so to the point that people are going to Facebook looking for off-market properties, asking people, does anybody know of a home for sale in Marketplace? Have you ever heard of a scam through Marketplace? No? Yeah, plenty of scams through Marketplace, and you're trying to do this with a property that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, if that's the way you want to do it, thinking you're going to save some money. Many people think by avoiding professionals that they can save money. Just like with attorneys. Oh no, I'll represent myself. Good one. Go ahead and try that. I don't recommend it, but professionals are there for a reason. They schooled, they have the experience, they've seen different situations that you wouldn't even be aware of. Things that you can do, things you can't do. People have gotten stuck in situations that you don't want to be stuck in. So do what you want. You can try to find these off-market properties. Maybe you get scammed, maybe you don't. Maybe you go to a for sale by owner and maybe you get held hostage trying to negotiate terms right before closing, like happened to one of my clients. You know, we worked our way out of it. We had a blessing fall upon us to make it work. But that's the kind of stuff that happens when you don't use professionals. So keep that in mind. And I wouldn't use Facebook for purchasing real estate if I were you, but that's just my recommendation. All right, experts are going to tell you to be patient and compromise on your wants and needs of a home. And I guess that kind of makes sense. You know, you don't want to just stick to the wants and needs and not have any flexibility. But I guess the best way that I advise my clients is get the most of what you can at the best terms that you can and go from there, because you're never going to get perfect. I've seen it even in new construction. People don't even realize until they start living in a home what it's missing. And that's when they come back around and say, oh man, I wish I would have done that differently. So do the best you can with what you have, but don't expect perfection. You're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Now, number 10, if you're thinking about the home style that you're looking for, this is where you look at your lifestyle and the affordability factor for the type of home you're going to live in. Because as much as you may not want to live in a condo, condos are going to be priced lower than single-family homes, and guess what else they have? They have clubhouses in most cases. They have pools in most cases. They have gyms in most cases. So all the expenses that you would have of a single-family home, you get them, that somebody else, number one, takes care of it and pays for it, and you just get to live in your more affordable unit. So think twice. If your budget tells you you have a price limit and it's pushing it and you're falling into a kind of junky single family home, maybe you consider a condo, get all these benefits on the side, and live the lifestyle that you want. Remember, the home is the place that you kind of spend your time sleeping and hanging out, but a lot of the time you're out of the house. You're either driving to work, or you're out to dinner, or you're out with friends, or you're out at a park, or hell, maybe you're out here fishing. So when you're thinking about affordability and what can I live in, maybe you consider condos too. Here's a bonus for you. Don't ask for answers on Facebook. People are going to give you all kinds of crappy answers just because they think they're funny. And it happens every single time somebody tries to get serious information, they get just blasted with crap. So I say, don't bother. Google it, talk to somebody that's been through it, figure it out. But Facebook, all you're gonna get is made fun of. And bonus number 2, Cape Coral is full of different activities and different leagues and different clubs to be involved in. It's a super active community. We've got a website dedicated to all the different sports clubs you can get involved in. And keep in mind, it's year-round because of this weather. Right now it is approximately 5:30, and you can see very light out, very bright out. We've got people here behind me fishing. This park is completely full with people parked along the water just enjoying the view. Okay, so that's 10 things you need to know about buying a home in Florida in 2023. And if you would like more information about moving to the area, check out one of these other videos. And if you have a specific question you need an answer to, you've got to call, text, or email, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.